bros?
What up, bros?
And welcome to Bromance World.
When it's bro meets world. Oh, this is a nice little reverse.
I was gonna say, usually you go first, and now when I try to go first, I try to hit it right into the song, and it doesn't go. We need the order.
I liked it. I liked it. Thank you guys for joining us again. This is our season 5 report card.
Yeah, season 5 report card, guys. This is basically us going through the season, talking about the highlights, the things we love, the things we didn't like, and we kind of do it in this kind of superlative yearbook type of way. We've been doing it for I guess all of the other seasons we've done a report card for. So this will be our 5th report card.
Absolutely.
I'm really interested to kind of see the overall grade for this season. I'm interested to see, because going into this, I kind of thought season 5 would be the favorite. I thought that even though season 4 was my personal favorite, I thought season 5 is the one that when you talk to the regular people, that's like the one that I guess it aired the most recently. So it's more in people's consciousness. It's like the last year of high school. I just feel like it's a very popular season, even though I feel like we maybe didn't like it as much. So
it's funny. Like I think we did well. Like I think we did we looking at the grades, we graded it favorably, but also we this had some stinkers in it, a lot more than I think we remembered.
For sure. But okay, then maybe we should just get right into this honor roll. So we're going to start with an honor roll section where we're going to talk about basically the things we liked about this season. These are the positive takeaways from season 5. And I guess we're going to start with best episode. Now, best episode is you and I's personal favorite episode of the season, correct?
No. So best episode actually I guess in a way it's like the one we've graded the highest.
Okay.
And I will say, as is expected, our best episode is the And Then There Was Shawn episode. How could you not? Guys,
how could it be anything else?
Absolutely. I think it's our only A+ across the board. We even had a guess, so there was like a little wild card in there. It could have upset it, but no. And Then There Was Shawn, absolutely favorite of the season.
It's so funny because even now when I think back on that episode, like to me it's an episode that stands alone, even separate from the series. Like you don't even have to like Boy Meets World to jump into that episode and enjoy it. So as far as just like being a standout of the season, it was kind of a no-brainer for me that it was the favorite one. And honestly, it's my personal favorite episode of the season as well, even though obviously we grade it very high. Even looking back, I was like, oh, maybe the Ski Lodge episode's up there, but no, And Then There Was Shawn for sure.
And I love that because absolutely, like I don't understand how we could do anything differently because And Then There Was Shawn is so important. But And Then There Was Shawn was absolutely one of the favorites. I also think, like, even listening back to all of the episodes this season, it was one of my favorites in terms of our episodes this season. Like having an amazing guest on,
Oh yeah, we had Yasmin, who was great on that episode. And there was just so much to talk about. It's like, you're right. It's definitely one that I've gone back and listened to probably more than the other ones of this season. Ceej, what was the fan favorite episode of season 5?
So, as much as you guys loved our And Then There Was Shawn, the actual fan favorite episode was season 5, episode 9's How to Succeed in Business. And as we know, this is one of my favorite episodes because this is the one with it's just the work study. We had that great conversation on Shawn and Cory having this dynamic where Shawn actually succeeds and Cory pushes back.
I'm so surprised that that's the fan favorite because I can't even explain to you
the numbers on that episode.
Yeah, it's such a whatever episode. Like, to me, it's such a forgettable episode of season 5. So for it to be like the top one is interesting. And I mean, am I correct in saying that Yasmin was our guest on both
Yes.
that and the
I think you
Rashawn?
guys just like Yasmin, which is fine. I
Yeah,
love
that
her
must
as
be it.
well.
Yeah, we love having her on. We're gonna have to bring her back for season 6 because clearly there is an appetite for her expertise and her insight. Because yeah, interesting. How to succeed in business. I would have never guessed that to be the fan favorite. No way. Oh man.
Yeah, took me by surprise too.
All right, all right.
Okay, are you ready for the next?
Okay, yes. So I mean, next one is favorite character. CJ, do you have a favorite character from the season?
So, okay, this one was so hard because what I'm going to do is I feel like I should be ride or die Angela because how could you not? Black Girl Magic. Sure. She really is like someone who we welcome to it. However, I also feel like we don't get enough of Angela.
Yeah.
So like she is my choice, but almost out of loyalty and not because she's given what she's supposed to be given. What's your answer?
Okay, so controversial answer, because I thought the same thing about Angela too. Like, love Angela, especially in like the and then there was Shawn episode. I thought we got a lot of good stuff for her. I love the two-parter that we get with Shawn, like discovering the purse and everything. Like, I think that was all great. But like when I really thought about like what character do I like really think showed up this season, I got to give it to Lauren. Lauren is my favorite of the season. I know she only has 2 episodes, but man, does she not leave such a permanent impression?
She has 3. You keep saying 2, and I think that 2 made it such a shock when the 3rd one happened. Because if you remember, she shows up out of nowhere, and I was like, "What is this? I was told you only had 2 episodes."
Well, doesn't she? Is she just in Heartbreak, Cory, and then the Torn Between Two Lovers episode, right? Is there a third?
I guess the Ski Lodge episode is 2 episodes. Is it not?
It's just, Heartbreak Cory is episode 14. And then we jump right into episode 15, which is First Girlfriends Club, which is when Shawn gets kidnapped. It feels like a 2-parter. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's that impactful.
I feel like it's not. Oh my god. You can see how well we remember this stuff.
I mean, in all fairness, like her character feels present throughout a lot of episodes that she's not even in because of the repercussions of the kiss. I mean, it should have been a 2-parter. We definitely talked about it the entire episode, saying we needed more of everything. Like, I think that was kind of something we felt through most episodes of the season, is that we wanted them to be 2-parters. So I can definitely see why you were left with that impression. Most improved character of the season, Ceej. Who do you think out of everything you know of all 5 seasons now, coming into season 5, knowing everything you know, who do you think is the most improved?
Honestly, like we've talked about this and like how each episode kind of centered around someone. I feel like this season it's kind of been a little bit of a mixed bag. I feel like I'm going to give it to Shawn again, because I feel like Shawn, like even with the And Then There Was Shawn episode, there's just so much that Shawn actually starts to realize about himself, and Shawn gets into college, and Shawn understands how to deal with Cory's jealousy we talked about in the previous How to Succeed in Business. And like so much of it is Shawn actually really getting to learn his place in this world. So yeah, I'm gonna say Shawn.
I agree. Shawn got it for me as well. It's not just the fact that he got into college. It's not just the fact that he is kind of becoming like moved out on his own and becoming more independent. It was also the fact that we saw him dive into his first serious relationship, which is something that like in previous seasons we saw him struggle with. We saw him take Larissa Olenek out on that ice picnic and then nothing come of it. We saw him like get told that he's not boyfriend material by Topanga and feel like a certain way about it, you know. So for him to actually get to a point where he feels ready to be in a serious relationship, and he's kind of doing it on his own terms, not, you know, trying his best not to compare it to Cory. I just think it's a great evolution for his character. And I will say that he may be the only character who I feel improved this season. Truly, of the main four characters, Cory, Topanga, Shawn, and Eric, I feel like every other character de-evolved. And I don't know if you feel the same way, but that was just my takeaway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, we're still in here for the honor roll for the things that we liked about it. Do you have any just like favorite moments of the season as you reflect back on season 5? Any standout episodes or any standout moments from different episodes that you kind of are going to remember going forward?
Yeah, I think that again, having shared earlier, I think this season bringing us Angela, of course, I'm eternally grateful. The fact that we do get a lot of the iconic ones, the one that we call the Inuit, the one with, and then there was Shawn, the Lauren episode, ones we didn't like Eric Goes to Hollywood, they are still memorable. And I feel like this episode gave us this season, a lot of memorable episodes, and I'm appreciative of that.
Yeah, I definitely had some things that really kind of stand out to me in a positive way from season 5. I know this is kind of like earlier on in the season. I liked when we did like the real world documentary thing. I thought that was kind of fun. I really enjoyed, like I said, the 2-parter episode. I also really enjoyed Raging Cory, like the part where
again,
Alan, Eric, and Cory are in the museum and they're talking about the coconuts and the monkeys. I just thought that was a great standout moment of the season. And honestly, even though we had a lot of opinions about Cory towards the later half of the season, the entire breakup saga gave us so much to talk about. And obviously we feel a certain way about it now than we did when we originally watched it, but it's still like such a standout part of the entire series. I don't think you can tell the story of Cory and Topanga, Our Boy Meets World, without really kind of mentioning what goes on towards the later half of the season with the breakup. So, I mean, those are all kind of standout moments to me. I did not care for a lot of episodes, but there are some moments like the graduation where, like, even though things don't go the way I hope them to, they're memorable moments. I love the cameos in it. So, good stuff from season 5. I think those are probably the standout things for me.
Again, I love it. I think it's really good.
Do want to say, I think I will have to go back and check. I think Shawn gets the most improved character from us, like almost every season. Like almost every season.
I think like I remember we did ones with Eric, like
Eric got last season,
ones. Yeah. But I just think that Shawn, I think after a while we realized that Shawn is actually the one who this show should be about,
Definitely. So those are our superlative honor rolls. Those are the things that we loved about season 5. Now let's move into the things that we didn't so much care for with season 5. Starting with worst episode. What is the episode we ranked the least of all of them?
So from our own grading score, we had 2 back-to-back just like ones that we did not enjoy. And go for it.
Can I guess the back-to-back was Witches of Pembroke and No Guts, No Cory?
Those are the ones.
Forgettable ass episodes.
Our least favorite episodes of the season, and I stand by my choices.
Well, which one was great at the least of the 2, or did they get a similar grade?
No, they got the exact. There was a time here, and this was so much fun going back. There was a moment in time where you and I were like just synced on episodes. Like we had the exact same grades. We were like in a really good rhythm. And these were two back to back where we were like, what am I watching? Like it was very, very fun to kind of revisit those and see. But I will say to that point, the least favorite of the two from the fans was Witches of Pembroke. No Guts, No Cory is actually a very, very high listened to episode for us.
I guess it's a memorable one. Like it's one of the ones that stand out from everything else just because there's different rules. There's like a different universe at play. I don't really know. It's actually, if I had to choose one to rewatch, I would easily watch Witches of Pembroke before I would watch No Guts, No Cory.
Really? Oh, I think the No Guts, No Cory one, I felt like I remember it was like Cory tricking Topanga to get on a plane. Like I felt at the time that it was such a throwaway episode. Like someone literally barely handed in a script. So sorry, Alan Meyerson, but you did not do your job that day. And I have no problem saying that.
At least Witches of Pembroke, you get great cameos from Candace Cameron and Melissa Joan Hart. Like there's something that you can walk away with there. It's a Halloween episode.
Not gonna lie, I do enjoy the idea of Salem the Cat. I always think that. I think I remember saying this at the time.
You're a Salem apologist.
I am, and I will not apologize for that. I am who I am.
Oh man! All right. Hey, so who do you think, and I think I know the answer to this, who do you think is the worst character of season 5?
Oh, well, so here it depends on how we're grading worse, because honestly, I feel like Cory just gets worse and worse as the episodes go on. Like, as we talked about earlier, the fact that there was a time where Topanga gets into college and he literally is just like, oh, sorry, she gets into Yale. And Cory's just like, big whoop. He insults her and then changes the subject to Shawn. So, and there's a lot of gaslighting. There's a lot of Cory just being self-centered this season. So I think Cory is my least favorite character because we don't get enough of the other side characters to hate them as much.
Yeah, and the other thing, I was kind of thinking about when I was looking back on some of the episodes of season 4 and 3 and 2, a lot of the times that Cory is learning lessons, it kind of comes from a very earnest place. He's not really hurting anyone else. He's just kind of creating chaos, or there's confusion that he has to overcome. Like, I saw Janitor Bud clock out early. What do I do about it? Like, it's not him intentionally being a dick or like hurting other people that he's closest to. Whereas this season, there were so many episodes where he was just a flat out asshole to either Shawn or Topanga or like his parent, like whoever. Like especially Topanga, we just saw such a terrible side of him from this season that it's like, it's really hard to see or to kind of vouch for this character, knowing that he just really doesn't give a shit about anybody but himself. And that's kind of the thing that became clear for me through season 5 with Cory. So
it's actually funny as well because I just think, like, thinking back on it, I feel that we are starting to see the turn of Eric's character. So I look forward to seeing how we feel about him as time goes on as well.
Yeah, I mean, Eric in season 6 and 7 is Eric unhinged. So we're really going to see how this show explains his idiocy, or at least tries to. I don't know. There might not be much of an explanation there. It might just happen. Any other like negative takeaways from the season? Moments that you were just like, man, I really hate this part of this season. Like, this rubs me the wrong way. Obviously, we talked about No Guts, No Cory, and Witches of Pembroke. But any other moments that you're just like really not a fan of from the season?
Honestly, I just looking back over it, I think those in the beginning were kind of like the worst. Also, I will say that I didn't like episode Last Tango in Philly. Like, I was not happy about that episode going back to look at it. You gave it a way more forgiving grade than I did, but I was not having it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that like those were the episodes that I graded the least.
Nunzio. Yeah. Okay. So I have to say some things about season five that rubbed me the wrong way. And when we started season five, one of the main conversations we had was like, oh, I wonder what we're gonna think of Jack. Jack is new. He's jumping on. Do we like Jack? Do we not like Jack? And after watching the season, I have to say that I think he literally doesn't add anything to the show. Because after getting through the first half of the season, which is just like, hey, I'm new to my brother, I'm new to with being Eric's friend. Once we get through all that, like it honestly feels like the season actually picks up a rhythm once it ignores the Jack storyline and just focuses on Cory and Shawn and Topanga again. So I don't really know what he adds other than just being a best friend for Eric. Like it almost feels like we could have just had Jason Marsden back, or you know what I mean? Like we could have done something like that. Like his relationship, Jack's relationship with Shawn, I feel like could have got developed way more this season than it did.
Yes.
Other than like that one moment where Shawn is drinking and Jack's just like, hey, this runs in our family. This kind of like ruined our family. Other than like that one sentence, we don't really get anything deeper than that. I mean, maybe in the real world episode they kind of go through it, but I mean, that's episode 2.
Yeah.
And then it's gone. Like it's I mean, they're talking about what they want to do with Christmas and then they end up going ice skating, but like there's so few moments, I guess is what I'm trying to say, from the show. And I just don't think that Jack added anything good.
I will say and this is like in defense of Jack, because in my head canon, and I will always remind you guys, I'm not alone in this. There are plenty of Twitter posts that support me. Jack is Eric's boyfriend, and I do love watching it through that lens. I do love it. And then also at this point in time, I didn't remember when they made the switch, but we literally get an episode with Jack where they identify him realizing, oh, wait a minute, I'm a good-looking guy. I could actually be a model or whatever. And then we start to get the vain Jack. So I kind of like, they did leave us a little bit of breadcrumbs there. And I do appreciate that. I will say that, like, going back to like just some of the things that aren't great about this season is when I do look back on it, so much is just like how the narrative bent over backwards to make Cory the hero. Yeah. Like there is just like, there's the episode where Cory is the one who's drinking, but all of a sudden we're talking about Shawn. Cory is the one who cheated, but all of a sudden him and Topanga are on like equal footing. Cory is the one who like was being a little brat with Shawn's job, and all of a sudden, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's always something where the story is like bending over backwards to make Cory the hero, when I feel like this would have been a really great season to kind of play up how flawed of a character Cory is.
Yeah, totally. I 100% agree on that. Cory definitely, even like when I think about Last Tango in Philly, like there's so much of that Cory is kind of, gosh, heartbreak Cory. Like I'm looking back on all these episodes, How to Succeed in Business. He's just an asshole in all of them. Like,
yeah, this is my point.
Yeah, it's definitely a low point for Cory, I think, throughout the series of season 5. The other thing I wanted to point out about season 5 was that, I do like how they try to talk about more mature storylines, I guess. Like we had the kids drinking, we had the kids talking about sex. Like that stuff I did enjoy. I wish we had more of that. I wish it feels like this season didn't even really start until we had the Angela two-parter, honestly. Like everything else before that feels like it could have just been an extension of season 4 or something. Like it just, there's once that episode happens, there starts to be a little bit of pace and an ongoing storyline, but everything before that is kind of really forgettable. Yeah, not a lot of duds.
Yeah, and I think like it's so weird that this episode is weighted down the way that it is.
Yeah, because it's true. Like, as I'm going through and looking at the episodes, I'm thinking about which ones I would want to rewatch. And so few of them I want to rewatch. Like, other than like Raging Cory, or and then there was Shawn, you know, maybe some of the Lauren stuff. Like, a lot of the stuff I don't really care to rewatch again. So especially things change. That episode just rubbed me all kinds of the wrong way. Oh man.
Take it up
Anyway.
with the listeners.
So we have also, you know, it's the end of season 5, and at the end of the season, we sometimes have characters that sometimes leave us, and we have a graduation ceremony. Now, the first thing I want to bring up with this graduation is that 3 characters from this graduation have already graduated. Minkus, Joey, and Frankie have technically all left the show in some way, shape, or form, but this season is truly the last appearance we ever get from any 3 of them for the remainder of the series. So, you know, pay our respects for their cameo and their role in the show, even though they didn't really have a big role in season 5 in general.
Correct. I will say that we do see Minkus in the spinoff, just kind of like acknowledging those of you who are interested in the Boy Meets World extended universe. Minkus does make a return, but yeah, this is the end of the road for some of our most favorite high school friends.
It's also the end of the road for some of our favorite sets, including Chubby's and for the most part, John Adams High. I think John Adams High has one appearance in the final episode, but those sets are gone, and they're basically characters throughout the show. So it's a sad goodbye for them. Any other characters that I think that's pretty much it. I don't know. I think every character that we have kind of sticks through. Lauren, there's a cameo in season 6 or 7 for sure.
You know what? I'm done with you. You can't keep lying to me.
I'll save her farewell until her last appearance, but yeah, for the most part, other than one more brief cameo, she is gone. Okay, so next we have the Bruh Award, which is the most culturally relevant moment. Do you have something that comes to mind for the Bruh Award?
I think so. It's so interesting because I did think about like, the Bruh Award and like which one would be. And I just feel like it's hard to select because like so many topics are relevant, but I don't know if the show handles it the right way. You know what I mean? Like there are episodes to where it's done really well, but the topics really, I'm glad that they brought it up, and I'm glad that we are talking about this, such as women proposing and being unsure about I think about the graduation episode, the sex conversation that they have in Promises. There are the alcohol and teenage, I love having these conversations. I just don't think that they handle it really well all the time. So actually going to kind of cheat a little bit and say and then there was Shawn for 2 reasons. One, we just got Scream 2022, so it's still pretty relevant. It's still it's a classic, and the franchise of Scream itself is still ongoing. And then also, I do think the idea of doing a deep psychological dive into someone's trauma response, but using comedy to do so is very much where we're at right now in television. So yeah, I'm choosing, and then there was Shawn.
You know what? I will agree with you that that's probably the most culturally relevant moment. But when I think about the way we use bruh in the terms of the bruh moments that we do, it's not always the most culturally relevant as much as just something that maybe also hasn't aged well, or something that just really knocked us back and just been wow, they did that. And for me, it's really hard to look at the season and not think about Topanga choosing her boyfriend who cheated on her over Yale. that's something that I'm gonna be brought about like for a while, and that's and you know, I kind of know what happens in the next few seasons. I know that they kind of touch on this a little bit in the extended universe, whatever. But just from season 5 alone, that moment I was just like, it, this isn't the Cory and Topanga of season 4. Like they have gone through so many hardships, and this is her last year in high school, and it seems like an opportune time for these two to break up for real, and like her
Absolutely.
go to a different college and maybe come back later on. I don't know, but I just, bruh.
I think what's funny is we act like they use Topanga well in general. It's like they were like, we can't get rid of Topanga. Why? Give me 5 episodes where Topanga is the center.
Yeah. And there's other ways you could do it. You could have like just basically like 2 storylines where she's at a different school and we're seeing what life is like with her, and maybe she's missing Cory or whatever. Like anything would have been a little bit more interesting than I'm just gonna choose this dude because I'm too scared to pursue my dreams. So
again, I think we've gotten a little bit spoiled, but I think a show that does that really well is Insecure. For those of you who don't know, like there's plenty of storylines where it's like the 2 love interests, or the will they won't they, are not even in the same city. Like they have their own lives and they're doing their own things until eventually they are brought back into the same storylines in a way that makes sense. And I do feel like we could have done something similar to that.
Wow. I think that's pretty much all I got for the Bruh Award. Let's do our final grade. What's our final grade of season 5? Oh, I am on the edge of my seat, bro.
So the final grade of season 5 is an 81.70, which is a B minus.
B minus.
And I say what's really interesting is I said 81.70 because season 4 was 81.79. So this season, even with all of its highs, is lower than season 4.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Did we graded season 3 higher than season 4, right? So
yeah. So right now the ranking of if you were going to follow our guide, it goes season 3, season 4, season 5, season 2, season 1. So yeah.
I think that's pretty accurate. Like after like thinking back on it, like honestly, like season 3 wasn't one that I thought was going to be a real standout, but like now that I'm thinking back, there's great episodes in that season. There's a lot of rewatchable stuff, and I think that's a pretty accurate listing of the seasons.
I will say this. I feel like based on everything we've done, season 3 may be the most consistent season. And I think that's why it's rated so highly, because it has a lot more really good episodes back to back. This season has really, really good episodes and really, really bad episodes.
Yeah.
So season 5 is a good season if you were pulling episodes, but if you want like a good Boy Meets World season that you could just watch, season 3 is your go-to. But also, before we go on, I would not be myself if I didn't point out that in season 3, a certain Tony Curtis was like, boy, you just got to get to 4 and 5. That's when it really turns up.
Honestly, that's what I thought. Like, I stand by. I recognize, I'll say that. I recognize that I thought that seasons 4 and 5 were going to be the ones that really stood out. And I have to say, I am as surprised as you that we ended up at this outcome, but it kind of makes sense, truly. Like it just, after reviewing everything, I just thought that season 5 just didn't hold up the way I thought it did. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that season 5, more so than probably the other seasons, doesn't age as well because of the relationship dynamics between Cory and Topanga in this particular season. The entire time, I can't even enjoy Cory's journey because I'm so angry at him for what he's doing. And that's never been an issue in the seasons before. So
specifically, him cheating on Lauren. Like there's so many, but the fact that he would cheat on Topanga, and then blame everyone but himself.
Yeah,
and then, like that's what really, like, from that point on, I was like, what are we doing? Like, we're really just gonna give him a pass and let him gaslight her and let everyone else also be like, well, you both made some mistakes. No, only one person made a mistake. The other person's mistake was letting them do so.
Yeah, and like every episode that I saw from the moment he cheated on Topanga going forward, I was just like, this is unbelievable. This kid is not like, it's not getting any better. And at no point does he redeem himself. At no point, like, when Topanga finally gets back with him, I'm saying why the whole time. I'm like, why are you getting back with this, like, dude? Like, you deserve better. She gets into Yale. I'm like, you deserve better. Like, I don't know. It was a hard one.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Anything else you want to say about this episode or this season?
I just want to thank all of our guests that we've had on the show. I know we had Chris Lord, we had Yasmin Shamesh, we had Shalene from Everything 90s. We had Devi and Anika from the Melanin Marvels podcast. We had a lot of fun guests this season. If I'm forgetting anyone, please, like, I'm so sorry. But we just had a lot of great people come on and give us their thoughts on the season, and I think it's definitely helped widen our perspective a little bit. Definitely getting some female input on some of the stuff as well has been really great. So, just a big thank you to everyone who's hopped on and talked to us about the show.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Thank you guys for listening to our Brum Meets World Report Card Season 5. Remember, you guys can find us everywhere where there are podcasts. Thank you so much again for giving us your 5-star ratings. That you guys have made us one of the more popular Brum Meets World companion pieces. We thank you for that. And yeah, I guess you guys just, how do we go out of here? Reach out to us at Brum Mode on many social media platforms. And then also, I guess, remember to dream,
to try,
and to do good.
See you guys in season 6.
Season 6. Later, bros.
Later, bros.
When this boy meets world.